When I look at today's world, I realize that the greatest luxury we have is not money or time, but attention. In an era where we are surrounded by endless notifications and information competing for every second of our focus, the ability to concentrate has become the most valuable superpower of all. You see, I wasn't born with focus. When I was young, I often got lost in thoughts about how insignificant I was compared to others. However, I learned that success isn't about being the smartest or the strongest, but about having clarity and determination. For me, focus has always been like a magnifying glass. If you hold a lens under the sun and constantly move it, nothing happens. But if you keep it steady on one spot, the heat begins to burn. That's how our efforts must be. I learned this when I decided to found Alibaba. Back then, so many voices told me, you won't be able to compete with eBay, or you're wasting your time. But I knew that if I let those distractions take over, I would never build something meaningful. Focusing was my only option. Have you ever stopped to think that most people fail to reach their goals because they don't know what they want? I always ask myself, if not now, when? If not me, who? This simple question kept me aligned with my goals when times got tough. Having focus is more than saying yes to something important. It's about saying no to dozens of other tempting things that come along the way. When we understand the value of focus, we realize it goes beyond our ability to pay attention. It becomes a guide for making decisions. When I started expanding Alibaba, I realized our biggest challenge wasn't competing with large companies. It was staying true to the vision we had, connecting small businesses to the world. Even amidst distractions, I never deviated from that. When you master focus, you learn to eliminate what's irrelevant and channel all your energy into what truly matters. If you think you don't have enough focus, don't worry. Focus is a skill, and like any other skill, it can be trained. Start small. Dedicate 10 minutes of your day to a task without interruptions. From there, increase it gradually. The sense of productivity and control you'll experience will be transformative. Because in the end, focus isn't just about productivity, it's about freedom. Freedom to create, grow, and thrive. Many people believe that focus is simply avoiding distractions. But I've learned that it's much more than that. True focus is knowing exactly where you're going and why you're heading in that direction. Imagine you're walking in a straight line, but you keep turning your head to look around. You won't get very far, right? That's the danger of a life without clarity. When we don't define what truly matters, it's impossible to move forward with purpose. When I started Alibaba, my focus wasn't on competing with giants or impressing investors. My focus was on small businesses struggling to break into the global market. Many said I was dreaming too big, but I knew that instead of trying to change circumstances, I needed to change myself. As I often say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. This shift in perspective is at the heart of true focus. True focus is like an internal compass. It not only points the way, but also helps you avoid shortcuts that seem promising but lead you off track. Every time we think, what if I tried this too? We lose a bit of our energy. That's why focus isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. You must ask yourself, is this task taking me where I want to go, or is it just noise? Once a young entrepreneur asked me how I managed to concentrate on a single goal while the world around me was so chaotic. I replied, if you have a dream big enough, the chaos around you doesn't matter. The secret lies in clearly visualizing what you want to achieve and reminding yourself of it daily. True focus isn't a decision you make once, it's a commitment you renew every day. You might be thinking, this sounds hard, and it's true, maintaining focus is a challenge, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Find simple ways to reinforce your focus. Use tools like to-do lists or time blocks, but above all, be clear about what you want to achieve. Because true focus isn't about blocking out distractions, it's about shining a light on what truly matters. When I was younger, I constantly compared myself to others. I would look at peers who seemed smarter, better prepared, or who had more opportunities. And do you know what I learned? Comparing yourself is like running on a treadmill. You exhaust yourself but get nowhere. The truth is, each of us is on a unique journey, with challenges and moments that belong only to us. When you understand this, you start focusing on what truly matters, your own progress. I often see young entrepreneurs looking at competitors and trying to imitate them. I tell them, don't waste time wishing you were someone else or had what they have. Use that time to improve yourself. If I had spent the early years of Alibaba trying to be like other companies, I would have lost the essence of what made us unique. The secret is to remember that you have something special to offer. Comparing yourself steals your time and energy, two resources you can never get back. I like to think of comparison as a distorted mirror. It doesn't reflect who you truly are, but a warped version of who you think you should be. And here's the problem. When you base your choices on comparisons, you're letting other people control your life. Isn't it better to decide your own path? As I often say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. Dreams are what give us the energy to keep going, even when others seem ahead of us. Focus on what's in front of you, not beside you. Every small step you take in the right direction counts, and honestly, no one is watching your mistakes or struggles as much as you think. People are too busy with their own lives to notice your stumbles. So instead of worrying about how you compare, celebrate every small progress you make. That's what keeps you motivated and on track. In the end, it's about creating your own definition of success. If you get stuck trying to live up to others' standards, you'll never experience true fulfillment. Instead, ask yourself, what do I really want? When you have that clarity, you realize your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. And that, my friend, is what makes you free to grow. When I was young, I never imagined that one day I would stand in front of large audiences sharing my story. But do you know what helped me get there? It was the power of visualizing my goals. I always saw the future as a blank canvas, and my job was to paint it with my dreams. Visualization, to me, isn't just a mental exercise. It's the force that connects where you are now with where you want to go. At the start of Alibaba, I visualized our platform connecting small businesses to the world, even when no one believed in it. Everyone said it was impossible to compete with giants like eBay. But in my mind, I already saw our success. When you can see what you want, even before it happens, it creates immense motivation to keep going, even when the obstacles seem insurmountable. Visualization is like building a map for the future. When you imagine something in detail, what it will look like, how it will feel to achieve it, your mind starts finding ways to make that dream real. That's why I always encourage people to be clear about their goals. It's not enough to say, I want to succeed. You need to imagine what that success looks like. Maybe it's building a business that impacts lives or achieving financial stability to care for your family. Whatever it is, visualize it clearly. But don't be fooled. Visualizing doesn't mean the path will be easy. There will be days when your vision feels distant, almost impossible. That's when you need to remind yourself why you started. Every time I visualized our goals at Alibaba, I felt renewed energy to keep going. It's like planting a seed and imagining the tree it will become. It keeps you nurturing and caring for it, even before you see the fruits. If you want to start practicing visualization, set aside time every day to imagine your goal as if it's already achieved. Feel the emotion, see the details, and believe it's possible. I always say, if not now, when? If not you, who? These words aren't just a reminder to act, but to believe that you can shape your own destiny. What you see today could be what you achieve tomorrow. We live in a world that never sleeps. Notifications on your phone, endless emails, and social media are always lurking, stealing precious seconds from your day. But what most people don't realize is that distractions don't just take up your time. They drain your energy, creativity, and even your peace. When we allow distractions to dominate our routines, we're giving up our greatest asset, focus. I remember when I started Alibaba, our small office was a place of chaos. There were challenges everywhere, but I realized something important. If we didn't learn to identify what was essential, we would be consumed by the daily urgencies. Every time I got sidetracked solving minor issues, I lost sight of our bigger goals. It was then that I understood distractions cost far more than they seem at first glance. The problem is that distractions are seductive. A notification sounds like an irresistible call, and a trivial task might seem like a necessary break. But every moment lost comes at a price. For example, research shows it takes about 23 minutes to regain deep focus after an interruption. Imagine that happening multiple times throughout the day. How much quality time are you really dedicating to what matters? The solution begins with awareness. We need to identify what distracts us and take steps to minimize these interruptions. In my case, I learned to silence my phone during the most productive hours and to set time blocks for the most important tasks. I created environments that support focus, eliminating as many distractions as possible. When you take back control of your time, you discover just how far you can go. If you're stuck in a cycle of distractions, ask yourself, what truly matters to me right now? When you focus your attention on what has value, every minute starts working in your favor. And remember, distractions will always exist. The secret lies in training your mind to resist the urgencies of the moment and concentrate on what will lead you to the future you want to build. Without clear goals, focus is meaningless. Imagine sailing a ship without a destination. No matter how fast or well you steer, you'll never truly arrive anywhere. That's exactly what happens when people dream big, but fail to define their objectives. Early in my journey, I learned the importance of transforming vague ambitions into specific, actionable goals. It wasn't enough to say, I want Alibaba to succeed. I had to ask myself, what does success look like? Who are we serving? What problems are we solving? I've seen so many people chase success, but they're running in circles because their goals are too broad. Saying, I want to be successful, is like shooting an arrow into the sky without aiming at a target. When I founded Alibaba, I realized that I needed to break down our vision into smaller, tangible steps. For example, we started by focusing on connecting small Chinese businesses to international buyers. It wasn't a glamorous start, but it gave us a clear path forward. There's a saying I love: if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. Defining your goals forces you to look inward and figure out what changes you need to make to reach them. Whether it's improving your skills, building better habits, or developing mental resilience, every step you take toward your goals becomes meaningful when they're clearly defined. But here's the trick. Well-defined goals must also be adaptable. Life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes your destination changes along the way. At Alibaba, we often had to adjust our strategies to meet new challenges. However, because our goals were clear, we never lost sight of our mission. Flexibility and clarity go hand in hand when it comes to pursuing meaningful success. If you don't have clearly defined goals yet, don't overcomplicate it. Start small. Write down what you want to achieve in the next week, month, or year. Then, break it into smaller steps. You'll notice something magical happens when you do this. Your efforts will gain direction, and even the most daunting tasks will feel achievable. Because when you know where you're going, every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your destination. Deep focus is a state where your full potential is unleashed. It's the feeling of being so immersed in a task that time seems to disappear and everything flows effortlessly. Many call it the zone, but to me, it's more than just a productive state. It's a powerful tool that can transform how we work and live. This level of focus doesn't happen by chance. It's something we cultivate with intention and practice. When I first started Alibaba, there were days when the workload was overwhelming. But I discovered that the key wasn't working harder, it was working smarter. By dedicating uninterrupted blocks of time to critical tasks, I achieved far more in a few focused hours than I would in an entire day of multitasking. Deep focus is like a superpower. When you access it, you unlock levels of productivity you didn't think were possible. This state isn't just about concentration. It's about removing every unnecessary element from your environment. Think of it like clearing a path through a dense forest. If you're constantly sidetracked by distractions, you'll never make it to the other side. At Alibaba, I often encourage my team to limit meetings, silence their devices, and create a space where they could think deeply. These small changes had a massive impact on our results. But achieving deep focus requires discipline. It's not easy to resist the urge to check your phone or respond to an email immediately. I used to remind myself, the world won't end if I don't answer right now. Instead, I committed to finishing what truly mattered first. This shift in mindset allowed me to dedicate my full attention to projects that demanded creative solutions and long-term thinking. If you've never experienced deep focus, I challenge you to try. Start with 30 minutes of uninterrupted work. Turn off your notifications, clear your desk, and set a timer. Over time, you can build up to longer sessions. The rewards are incredible. You'll not only accomplish more, but also feel a greater sense of clarity and fulfillment in everything you do. Deep focus isn't just about getting things done, it's about unlocking the best version of yourself. Saying no is one of the most powerful skills you can learn, yet it's one of the hardest to master. For years, I struggled with it myself. I wanted to please everyone, partners, employees, even competitors. But I realized that every time I said yes to something unimportant, I was saying no to what truly mattered. And over time, I learned this. Saying no isn't about rejecting others. It's about protecting your time, energy, and focus. When you're building something meaningful, opportunities and distractions come at you from all directions. In the early days of Alibaba, people constantly approached me with ideas, partnerships, and side projects. Many of them seemed exciting, but I had to ask myself, does this align with my vision? If the answer was no, I let it go. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary to keep Alibaba on the right path. Think of your time as a finite resource, like a cup of water. Every drop you pour into meaningless tasks leaves you with less for the things that truly matter. Saying no is how you preserve what's in your cup. It's not about being selfish, it's about being intentional. Every successful person I know has mastered this art, and it's one of the reasons they can focus on what's most important. Of course, saying no doesn't mean shutting people out completely. It's about setting boundaries. For instance, I learned to delegate tasks that others could handle, and to focus only on what required my unique input. This way, I wasn't just saying no to distractions, I was empowering others to grow. Boundaries are essential not just for success, but for creating a balanced and fulfilling life. If you find it hard to say no, start small. Practice with one task or request at a time. Over time, you'll build the confidence to prioritize your goals without guilt. Remember, every yes comes at a cost. The question is, are you willing to pay that cost for something that doesn't serve your bigger vision? Saying no is an act of self-respect and a key to unlocking your potential. Mental barriers like self-doubt, fear of failure, and perfectionism are some of the biggest enemies of focus. I know this because I've faced them all. When I failed my university entrance exams multiple times and was rejected by dozens of jobs, I questioned my abilities. But over time, I learned something powerful. Those barriers exist only in our minds, and we have the power to break through them. The first step to overcoming these barriers is to reframe your thoughts. Failure, for example, isn't the end, it's a teacher. Every time I failed, I asked myself, what can I learn from this? That mindset turned setbacks into stepping stones. At Alibaba, there were countless moments when things went wrong, but instead of giving up, I reminded myself that mistakes are part of the journey to success. Another key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Too many people get stuck waiting for the perfect moment or solution, but perfection doesn't exist. If I had waited for Alibaba to be perfect before launching, we would still be waiting today. Progress, no matter how small, is always better than standing still. Fear of failure often stems from comparing ourselves to others. We look at their achievements and feel inadequate. But I believe that the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. When you focus on your own growth, those mental barriers start to lose their power. Finally, build resilience. Success isn't about never falling, it's about getting up every time you do. When self-doubt creeps in, remind yourself of your vision and why it matters. As I often say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. That dream is your fuel to push through any barrier. You already have the strength to overcome. You just need to believe in it. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to focus. Whether you realize it or not, the spaces you work in can either support your productivity or completely sabotage it. When I first started Alibaba, our office was chaotic. Papers were everywhere, phones rang constantly, and people were always coming and going. It took me a while to realize that this clutter wasn't just physical, it was mental too. If I wanted my team and myself to focus, we needed to change the way we worked. The first step to managing your environment is to eliminate distractions. Clear your desk, silence your notifications, and create a workspace that signals to your brain, this is where we concentrate. For me, it wasn't just about physical tidiness. It was about creating habits that reinforced focus. Something as simple as having a set routine for when and where I worked made a big difference. Your digital environment matters too. How many times have you sat down to work, only to lose an hour scrolling through your phone? At Alibaba, we made a rule. During team discussions, no phones allowed. This helped us stay present and focused on solving problems together. Technology can be a powerful tool, but only if you control it instead of letting it control you. Another important element is the people around you. Surround yourself with individuals who encourage and support your goals. Negative energy can be just as distracting as physical clutter. I always say, your team is your greatest asset. Choose people who inspire you to stay focused and remind you of the bigger picture when things get tough. If you want to start managing your focus environment, take a look around you right now. Ask yourself, what's helping me and what's holding me back? Small changes can make a big difference. Whether it's organizing your desk, setting boundaries with technology, or finding a quieter space to work, every step you take creates a stronger foundation for your focus. Big achievements often start with small habits. Many people think success comes from one big leap, but the truth is, it's the result of small, consistent actions over time. When I was building Alibaba, there were no grand moments where everything just clicked. Instead, it was the daily work, the emails sent, the meetings held, the connections made, that slowly turned our dream into reality. One of the most valuable habits I developed was setting aside 10 minutes each day to reflect. It may sound simple, but those moments of reflection help me stay aligned with my goals and adapt to challenges. Small habits like these are like planting seeds. At first you don't see much, but with time, they grow into something extraordinary. Habits are powerful because they shape who we are. If you read for just 10 minutes every day, think of how much knowledge you'll gain in a year. If you spend 10 minutes visualizing your goals, imagine how much clearer your path will become. Success isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter, and small habits are the smartest investment you can make. Building habits requires patience, but the results are worth it. Think of them as drops of water filling a jar. Each drop might seem insignificant on its own, but over time, the jar fills. At Alibaba, I encouraged my team to focus on consistent improvement rather than dramatic changes. This mindset allowed us to adapt and grow steadily, even in the face of competition. If you're unsure where to start, choose one habit that aligns with your goals and commit to it for 30 days. It could be as simple as journaling, exercising, or dedicating time to a specific task. The key is consistency, because when small habits compound, they create big transformations, and those transformations can change your life. Taking a break from technology isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. We live in a world where our phones, computers, and devices constantly demand our attention, but what many don't realize is that this endless connection can drain our mental energy and hurt our focus. To perform at your best, you need moments of stillness, moments free from the digital noise. At one point in my journey, I realized that being always on wasn't helping me, it was hurting me. I found myself checking emails late at night and feeling exhausted the next day. That's when I decided to implement small digital detoxes. For example, during dinner with my family, I made it a rule: no phones at the table. It might seem small, but those moments of connection made a huge difference. A digital detox isn't about abandoning technology entirely, it's about creating boundaries. Set times during your day when you disconnect, maybe an hour in the morning to plan your day or 30 minutes before bed to read a book. These moments allow your mind to recharge, giving you the energy to focus when it's time to work. Even in a tech-driven company like Alibaba, I encouraged my team to take breaks from their screens. We scheduled walking meetings and offline brainstorming sessions. These activities not only boosted creativity, but also reminded us of the value of human connection. Sometimes stepping away is the best way to move forward. If you've never tried a digital detox, start small. Choose one part of your day to be screen-free and see how it feels. You might be surprised at how much clarity and focus you gain. Because in a world that never stops, the greatest gift you can give yourself is a moment of peace. Focus isn't just for work, it's for life. Many people believe that success comes from working endlessly, but I've learned that balance is what truly sustains growth. When I was building Alibaba, I often spent long hours at the office, but I quickly realized that burning myself out wouldn't lead to success. It would lead to exhaustion. To create something meaningful, you need time to recharge, to laugh, and to enjoy life. Think of balance like a rope. If you pull it too tightly, it snaps. If you leave it too loose, it becomes useless. In the same way, your time must be distributed wisely. Work hard, yes, but also take moments to appreciate the people and things that matter most to you. I made it a habit to spend time with my family and friends, even during Alibaba's busiest days. Those moments weren't distractions, they were fuel. Leisure is where creativity often thrives. Some of my best ideas came not while sitting at my desk, but while walking, traveling, or simply relaxing with a good book. That's why I always tell young entrepreneurs, don't see rest as wasted time. It's an investment in your energy, your clarity, and your happiness. Success means nothing if you're too tired to enjoy it. But balance isn't just about relaxing, it's about being fully present. Whether you're working on a project or spending time with loved ones, give your full attention. I learned this the hard way when I found myself distracted even during important family moments. I realized that success doesn't just come from what you achieve professionally, but also from the quality of your personal life. If you're struggling to find balance, start by setting boundaries. Decide when you'll work and when you'll rest, and stick to it. Life isn't just about reaching the next milestone, it's about enjoying the journey. Remember, focus isn't just about the tasks in front of you, it's about the moments that make life meaningful. Planning is essential, but rigidity can hold you back. When I started Alibaba, I had a clear vision, but the path to get there was anything but straight. Markets shifted, challenges arose, and we had to adapt quickly. That's when I realized success requires a combination of clear goals and the flexibility to adjust when things don't go as planned. Planning is like drawing a map. It gives you direction, but it doesn't account for every twist and turn on the road. In my early days, I created detailed plans for Alibaba, but I quickly learned that no plan survives reality unchanged. Instead of clinging to what wasn't working, I focused on finding new ways to solve problems. Being flexible allowed us to innovate and grow even in tough times. But flexibility doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means finding new ways to reach them. Imagine a river flowing toward the ocean. When it encounters a rock, it doesn't stop. It flows around it. That's how you should approach challenges. Stay committed to your vision, but be willing to change your approach. Some of Alibaba's greatest breakthroughs came from moments of adaptability. For example, when we faced intense competition, instead of trying to beat others at their game, we focused on our unique strengths. This shift in strategy didn't just help us survive, it helped us thrive. Planning gives you a starting point, but flexibility is what keeps you moving forward. If you're someone who struggles with change, remember this: life will always surprise you. The key is to embrace those surprises and use them to your advantage. When you plan with purpose but remain open to new opportunities, you turn every challenge into a stepping stone towards success. In a world that craves instant results, patience has become a rare but powerful virtue. I've seen so many people give up on their dreams simply because they didn't see success quickly enough. But here's the truth: anything worth building takes time. When I started Alibaba, it took years of hard work, countless failures, and endless patience before we saw real results. Success is like a tree. You can't rush its growth. Patience doesn't mean sitting back and waiting. It means working consistently, trusting the process, and believing that your efforts will bear fruit in time. Early in my journey, there were moments when progress seemed painfully slow, but I reminded myself that every step forward, no matter how small, was a step closer to our goal. Patience gave me the strength to keep going. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that success isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about the journey. The challenges you face, the lessons you learn, and the growth you experience along the way are what truly shape you. Impatience can blind you to these moments of growth, while patience allows you to appreciate them. But patience isn't easy. In a fast-paced world, it's tempting to look for shortcuts or compare your progress to others. That's why it's important to focus on your own journey. Remember, the most beautiful things in life, whether it's a thriving business, a strong relationship, or personal growth, take time to build. If you find yourself feeling impatient, take a deep breath and remind yourself why you started. Great achievements require time, effort, and persistence. Trust that with consistent action and patience, your hard work will pay off. Because in the end, patience isn't just an ally, it's the foundation of lasting success. Being present is one of the most effective ways to eliminate distractions and stay focused. Mindfulness isn't just about meditating, it's about fully engaging with the task at hand. When I was building Alibaba, I often found my mind racing with thoughts about the future, but I realized that worrying about tomorrow didn't help me today. Learning to focus on the present moment was a game changer. Mindfulness helps you tune out the noise, both external and internal. It's about training your mind to stay with the task, no matter how tempting it is to drift away. For example, during meetings, I made it a point to listen fully instead of thinking about what I would say next. This practice improved my decisions and strengthened my relationships with my team. One of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness is through your breathing. When you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to breathe deeply and focus on the air entering and leaving your lungs. It might sound simple, but this technique has helped me stay calm during some of Alibaba's most stressful moments. Mindfulness also helps you enjoy the process, not just the result. When you're fully present, even the smallest tasks can become meaningful. It's like climbing a mountain. If you only focus on the peak, you'll miss the beauty of the journey. If you want to bring mindfulness into your life, start small. Dedicate a few minutes each day to being fully present, whether it's during a meal, a conversation, or a task. Over time, you'll find that this practice not only improves your focus, but also enhances every aspect of your life. Every step counts. Too often, we focus only on the big victories and ignore the small wins that lead us there. But I've learned that celebrating small progress is what keeps us motivated along the way. When I was starting Alibaba, there were days when even the smallest achievements felt monumental. Those moments reminded me that success isn't built overnight. It's built one step at a time. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Imagine climbing a staircase. Each step brings you closer to the top, even if it feels slow. At Alibaba, we celebrated every milestone, no matter how minor it seemed. Whether it was signing our first client or launching a new feature, acknowledging those moments kept our team energized and focused. Celebrating small progress also builds confidence. Each win, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you're on the right path. It's like fuel for your journey. When you take the time to acknowledge your efforts, you create a positive cycle of motivation and growth. If you're waiting for a big breakthrough to feel successful, you're missing out on the joy of the journey. Success isn't just about reaching the top, it's about appreciating every step that gets you there. Each small achievement is a reminder of how far you've come. So take a moment to celebrate your progress today. Write down what you've accomplished, share it with a friend, or treat yourself to something special. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Shachun. Focus is not a destination, it's a daily practice. Many people think that once they've achieved success, their focus will come naturally. But I've learned that staying focused is like tending to a garden. It requires constant attention, care, and effort. Just because you've achieved one goal doesn't mean the journey is over. In fact, maintaining focus becomes even more critical as your responsibilities grow. When Alibaba began to expand globally, I realized that the distractions didn't decrease, they multiplied. With success came more opportunities, more challenges, and more people demanding my time. It was tempting to say yes to everything, but I knew that would dilute our mission. Staying focused meant constantly asking, what is most important right now? That clarity kept me and my team aligned, even during the most chaotic times. Focus requires renewal every single day. It's not a decision you make once, it's a habit you cultivate. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. What matters is your commitment to realign yourself with your goals whenever you feel distracted. For me, morning reflections became essential. Before diving into work, I would take a moment to remind myself of our vision and the steps we needed to take. But here's something I want you to remember. The journey of focus isn't linear. There will be days when you feel completely off track, and that's normal. The key is to forgive yourself, learn from those moments, and refocus on what truly matters. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. If you want to master the art of focus, don't think of it as a skill you'll one day complete. Instead, see it as a journey, a practice you refine over time. Each day presents a new opportunity to focus better than the day before. Trust in the process, stay consistent, and embrace the challenges as part of your growth. Because when you commit to the journey of focus, you're not just achieving goals, you're becoming the best version of yourself.
As the co-founder of Alibaba, Jack Ma transformed countless failures into stepping stones toward success, proving that clarity of purpose and unshakable determination can lead to extraordinary outcomes. This presentation wasn't just a motivational talk. It was a roadmap for anyone looking to dramatically improve their life. Jack Ma began by addressing the distractions that dominate our daily lives. In a world saturated with notifications, comparisons, and the race for instant success, the ability to focus has become a superpower. He shared that true focus goes beyond avoiding distractions. It's about knowing exactly what matters most and committing to it wholeheartedly. If you don't have clarity about where you're going, he said, no amount of effort will get you there. The session delved deeper into what focus really means, highlighting the power of visualization and the hidden costs of letting distractions control our time. Jack Ma's advice was clear. By defining your goals, setting boundaries, and eliminating noise, you unlock a level of productivity and personal growth that few ever achieve. And it's not just about work. Focus extends into every area of life, from relationships to personal well-being. He also touched on something most people overlook, the importance of saying no. For Jack Ma, this isn't just about turning down opportunities. It's about protecting your most valuable resources, your time and energy. With his characteristic humor, he reminded the audience that every yes you give to distractions is a no to your dreams. But this wasn't just a session about discipline. Jack Ma showed how small habits, mindfulness, and balance between work and leisure play pivotal roles in achieving long-term success. He emphasized that patience, adaptability, and celebrating progress, no matter how small, are key to maintaining focus over the years. Success, he explained, isn't about how fast you go. It's about staying consistent, even when the road is hard. The audience left with actionable strategies to apply in their own lives, from digital detoxes to daily reflections, and even insights into managing mental barriers like fear and self-doubt. Jack Ma didn't just offer solutions. He gave the crowd the inspiration and tools to believe in their ability to create a better future. The session closed on a powerful note. Focus isn't a destination, it's a lifelong practice. Jack Ma encouraged everyone to commit to their goals every day, no matter how challenging the journey might seem. He left the audience with a simple but profound question. If not now, when? If not you, who? Now that you've explored Jack Ma's powerful insights on focus, resilience, and personal growth, it's time to take action. Think about this. What's stopping you from applying these strategies in your life? Are you ready to take control of your time, eliminate distractions, and focus on what truly matters? Success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating it, starting today. Ask yourself, what small change can you make right now to get closer to your goals? Whether it's setting clear objectives, saying no to what drains your energy, or dedicating time to mindfulness, the tools are now in your hands. How will you use them to transform your life in the next 30 days? Comment below and share which part of Jack Ma's advice resonated the most with you. Was it the importance of visualization, the art of saying no, or perhaps the need to celebrate small wins? Your story might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. If you ever feel stuck or need motivation, come back to this video. Let Jack Ma's words remind you that your dreams are worth pursuing, and your focus is the key to unlocking them. And don't forget, this channel is here to guide you every step of the way. Subscribe now to make sure you don't lose this valuable resource, and turn on notifications to stay updated. Otherwise, you might never find this channel again. Stick around for the next video, titled Jack Ma's Lessons. Spend your free time improving yourself, where you'll dive deeper into strategies for mastering success.